Why you're always broke. 10 habits keeping you in debt. Have you ever looked around and wondered why so many people have financial difficulties? Most people have some form of education, and many have full-time jobs, yet they still complain about never having money at the end of the month. Why? I hope I haven't just described your current financial situation, but whether you're living paycheck to paycheck or on the verge of becoming rich, there are some habits you need to be aware of that can limit your ability to grow your wealth. In this text, I will share with you 10 reasons why you might always be broke, and make sure to read until the end because the last reason is one you won't want to miss. Believe it or not, millions of Americans live beyond their means. With the rise of social media and the ever-increasing number of new gadgets, resisting our temptations to spend can be almost impossible. Unfortunately, not being able to control these temptations can have disastrous financial consequences. In fact, a recent survey found that about 1/3 of people aged 30 to 49 had more credit card debt than savings. Imagine being middle-aged and having absolutely nothing in your bank account to show for your years of work. I think the question most of us should ask ourselves is, what drives us to spend so much? Behavioral economists have studied the nature of spending for years and have identified the 10 main reasons why people overspend, which I will now outline. Reason number 1, you are not selective in your spending. In a world of scarcity, choosing one thing means giving up something else. When we spend money on one thing, it's money we can't spend on something else, either now or in the future. For example, if you choose to attend a 4-year college program, then you are giving up the salary you could earn if you worked full-time during those 4 years. Or if you have only $1,000 and buy a new TV, then the opportunity cost is spending those same dollars on buying a new computer. In short, there is an opportunity cost to everything we do, and that cost is expressed in terms of the next best alternative. For example, the true benefit of buying a new car can be evaluated in terms of other equally significant things we could have done with the money. Unfortunately, when considering the next best alternative, people tend not to be able to refrain from choosing between one or the other and instead decide on both, often the latter on credit. So, in the example I just provided, the same person would not only buy the new TV with the $1,000 they had but would also charge the new computer on their credit card, leading them to overspend to satisfy the temptation of having both devices. As this behavior becomes more routine, overspending worsens, making your chances of accumulating wealth slim to none. Reason number 2, you don't see the big picture. Have you ever received money as a gift to buy clothes or to buy yourself a new phone, and while drowning in debt, you continue to use that money for its intended purpose? See, most of us perform mental accounting, dividing our money into separate mental accounts like accounts for food, clothes, rent, school supplies, and fun money. And when we do this, we spend based on the dollar values we assign to these categories. In short, we consider only the opportunity cost within a specific account without looking at the big picture. For example, you might have a line of credit with $5,000 outstanding that you should invest your gift money in, but because it was given with the intention of being used for a new phone or clothes, you mentally labeled those dollars in the respective account and will choose not to use them for more advantageous purposes. Instead, you should look at your finances using a holistic perspective. When you have a cash inflow, evaluate where it will be best employed rather than allocating it using mental accounting. Reason number 3, you overspend on special occasions. Have you ever been on a diet and decided that just for one night, you would break the diet to celebrate a special occasion? It could be your birthday, a holiday, or just a random Friday night, and while it feels good to indulge once in a while, unfortunately, those calories still count. The same phenomenon occurs when it comes to spending. We tend to overspend on special occasions like birthdays and Christmas because we don't keep track of how many we have, and as a result, we end up spending beyond our normal budget. The inability to incorporate an exceptional purchase into our budget as one of a series of special purchases can encourage overspending. Fortunately, you can create a budget for infrequent expenses by setting up special savings accounts specifically designated, for example, for birthdays, so you don't hinder your savings progress while enjoying yourself from time to time. Reason number 4, you overvalue the pleasure of the present. Present bias occurs when people place too much weight on immediate rewards compared to future ones. For example, my future self might want to buy a house, but my present self wants to indulge in a tropical vacation. Often, it seems illogical to give up the potential for great future rewards in exchange for momentary pleasures. The reality is that the further the reward is in the future, the harder it is to keep its value in mind. In fact, this is why most people fail to save the money needed to fund their retirement. While most people could become millionaires in their retirement years by investing consistently from a young age, they instead succumb to spending on $8 coffees and the latest iPhone. In essence, the more we ignore our long-term interests in favor of immediate gratification, the more likely we are to have an overspending problem. This is why you should write down your short, medium, and long-term financial goals and review them daily so you can keep those long-term rewards in mind. Reason number 5, the ease of spending with credit cards. In addition to present bias, which leads us to overvalue our current spending compared to future rewards, the use of credit cards for payment also increases the potential for overspending. You've probably experienced this yourself. It's much easier to swipe the credit card to pay for something than to open your wallet and pull out cash. And this phenomenon has been widely studied. In fact, a 2001 study found that shoppers who rely on credit cards as a form of payment spend 100% more than those who pay only with cash, making overspending much easier. This makes sense because when you pay with cash, you can literally see your funds diminish, while paying with a card doesn't resonate the same emotions. So, if you want to spend less, take out the cash you want to spend each month, and once that amount is gone, you have to wait until the next month to make any desired purchases. Reason number 6, you don't believe in yourself. What you believe determines whether it is true. If you believe you will always be broke, you're probably right. And guess what? What you believe has a direct influence on what you do. So, if you believe you will always be broke, you're probably not actively seeking ways to move forward. Fortunately, your attitude is something you have control over, and when this is combined with positive actions, then achieving financial success is widely within the realm of possibility. Take Elon Musk, for example. Most people doubted he would be able to build his own aerospace company. But the business magnate was able not only to build SpaceX to the size it is today but also to launch rockets into space, proving all those non-believers wrong. So, when it comes to you and your money, believe in yourself. If you're in debt, start making payments to reduce your balance. If you've been putting off retirement investments, then create a 401k at work. Believe in and act towards success, and I promise you will achieve it. Reason number 7, lack of willpower. Willpower refers to the effortful control that is exerted to control our impulsive behavior. I like to think of willpower as a resource that we deplete over the course of each single day. You start each day with a full tank of willpower, and as it depletes, you become more inclined to act impulsively and are more likely to be influenced by desires, impulses, and cravings, even if you might regret it in the long term. This insight suggests that tired or distracted shoppers are likely to increase impulse purchases. This is why you should ask yourself how much willpower you have available when making financial decisions. If you are well rested and relaxed, you will be in a much better position to make a good spending decision compared to if you had just finished an entire day of work and were stressed about all the work you anticipate having the next day. Let your willpower be a tool and not your kryptonite. Reason number 8, retail therapy. Some people relieve stress by exercising, others talk about their feelings with friends, and unfortunately, some people resort to compulsive spending to cope with their emotions. While it is harmful to your bank balance, the dopamine spike that spending provides has been shown time and time again to offer an immediate mood boost to a shopper. You see, shopping allows people to visualize themselves in a better life where they are dressed in nice clothes and surrounded by beautiful things. Purchasing makes these visualizations a reality. There is no doubt that this form of therapy works, which is why so many people engage in this behavior. In fact, a 2016 survey found that 96% of adults and 95% of teenagers participate in retail therapy, making spending a mood-enhancing tool used by almost everyone. Reason number 9, shopping addiction. Beyond the occasional retail therapy lies the potential to develop a full-blown shopping addiction. Shopping addiction is characterized as an impulse control disorder, and about 6% of the population could be considered compulsive shoppers. Now, a person cannot be classified as a compulsive shopper or not. This disorder exists along a continuum. In reality, there are excessive shoppers, and then there are the compulsive ones. They buy things they don't need and often can't afford, and they jeopardize their jobs, their families, and their mental health. Some of these people end up bankrupt or compulsively shop. They suffer from a disease similar to alcoholism. The first most effective step for treatment is to identify why and how shopping initially became a problem. Experts suggest starting a journal to track the triggers, which is the first step in addressing this overspending problem. Reason number 10, you justify your unnecessary spending. You've just finished another grueling 40-hour work week at a job you hate, and the only thing you can think about is going over to the mall and treating yourself to a new outfit that you can wear out on the weekend. Does this sound like you? I hope not, but unfortunately, this is the mindset that many people have. They absolutely must find some sort of relief from their 9-to-5 grind, and one of the only ways they know how to make themselves feel better is by turning to retail therapy. However, the spending high you get from swiping your credit card won't solve your dissatisfaction with your job or your life, and in fact, it will only make things worse. So, if you want to abandon the broke mindset, stop justifying unnecessary purchases and start putting those hard-earned dollars to work so you can make strides on your path to financial success. We would like to know about your experience regarding the topic covered today. Share it with us in the comments and, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask them. We will gladly respond. Your like would be a source of satisfaction for us, and of course, do not forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the upcoming publications.